Singer for Star Playhouse presents Dick Powell, Charles Boyer, David Niven, Ida Lupino.
Lee?
Yes, dear.
Where are the tickets?
They're in your jacket on the inside left-hand pocket.
And the reservations for the lodge?
I've taken care of it.
2 weeks?
Uh-huh.
That means I shall be away from home for 3 whole weeks.
Yes, I know, darling.
And you don't sound very upset about it.
Oh, I miss you terribly, dear.
Lee,
Yes, dear?
I shall be away 3 whole weeks.
Yes, dear.
You sure you'll miss me terribly?
I'll be absolutely desolate.
You know, it's an exhilarating thought going off on a trip like this. New perspectives, fresh horizons. I'm a totally different man away from home.
Are you, dear? Oh, don't forget your nose drops. You know how your hay fever acted up last year.
I called the office. I told them that if they wanted me urgently, that they wouldn't be able to find me.
That's good, dear.
Just changing the ordinary surroundings invites the extraordinary. You get a sense of freedom. You lose your inhibitions. Your alter ego emerges, and then anything is possible. Anything.
Maybe your schizophrenia will provide you with 4 arms. You'll need it for all this stuff you're taking.
Of course, there's always the opportunity for, shall we call it, light dalliance.
But not light, darling. You'd go for it in a heavy way. You're such an intense personality.
Oh, you think you know me so well, but then a man is never a hero to his butler or his wife. I'm just trying to say that away from home, I'm different, entirely different.
Yes, dear. Don't forget to stop at the bank for your money.
But you never can tell with a man. You probably don't even know the story of the guy who went down to the corner market for a pound of butter and brought it home 19 years later.
That's why I never send you to the market, Andy.
Hello?
Andy? Look, there's a 7 o'clock starting time this Sunday.
Oh, Phil. No, I'm sorry. I forgot about the golf. I won't be able to play for another 3 weeks.
3 weeks? Oh, yes, of course, your annual vacation. Where are you going this year, Andy? Same place?
Same place.
Same gang?
Same gang.
And probably the same fish and ducks, eh? We'll have Hunter fill in. Have a good time. But, of course, you always do, eh?
Yes, I always do.
So long, Andy.
Goodbye, Philip.
Oh, I almost forgot. I brought you a book on fly casting. You remember, it was a mystery story last year, and you said you were bored on the train.
Bored? My dear, I don't think you quite understand. When I'm on my own, I'm entirely self-sufficient. My whole attitude changes. Man is a very complex creature.
You'll find it on the end table, dear. You'd better pack it away. Oh, here's your cab, Andy.
Oh, my goodness, I didn't know it was so late.
Here's this banjo.
Thank you, the gun, dear.
Basket. And here's your tennis racket. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Landing net.
And here's a gun.
Yeah, those are the fly rods.
Yes, and some tools. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I have some sandwiches here for you.
Yeah, I don't want the sandwiches
Oh,
yet.
yes. You know how hungry you get late at night.
All right.
Now,
Thank you.
have a good time as usual, dear.
As usual. Goodbye, Lee. Could you bring that other one?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bush.
Good afternoon.
150. Oh, you must be going on your vacation.
Yes, as usual.
Mm-hmm. See, 7 years now. 150 for expenses. $20, $40, $60, $80, $150.
Add that to it, please.
$500?
That is correct. I may have some extraordinary expenses this year. For instance, I intend to change my coach ticket for a private compartment.
Oh. See, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 500. Have a good time, Mr. Bush. Oh, then, of course...
Of course, I usually do. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Lucky this compartment was available. I hope everything is satisfactory.
Oh, this is just fine. Fine. Yes, sir.
Now, if you'll let me know when you want me to come in and make up your berth, I'll have it ready for you in a jiffy.
Oh, the bed.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, that's fine, fine. Is there a club car on the train?
Yes, sir. 2 cars to the rear.
2 cars to the rear. That's fine. Oh, now, don't run away.
No, sir. I'm not running. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Lee's a wonderful girl, wonderful. And I suppose it's only normal for her to think that she knows me inside out. Take this trip now. I feel different. I expand. I get out of the mold, so to speak. I leave my home and its familiar routines, and I become a man of the world.
Yeah, I guess some people look forward to a train trip. But me, my business is to travel, and it just gives me a stiff pain.
Yes, I imagine being a traveling salesman has its drawbacks.
Drawbacks? I'd trade with anyone, blind. For instance, what's your line?
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm...
Harold? Harold, come back here. Harold. Oh, thank you. Come out there. Shh. I want Daddy. He'll buy me an ice cream cone.
Yes, dear. Daddy will buy you an ice cream cone if we can ever find him.
Train's no place for kids. You gotta have room to run around. I got 4 of my own, I ought to know. Well, like I was saying about us traveling salesmen, you know, you hear all kinds of stories, just a lot of bourgeois. Nothing like that ever happens to me. Sure, I ain't saying it don't happen to some people, but it never happens to me. But to listen to my wife, you'd think that I... Yeah, that's what I mean. I guess that's what my wife means, too. Boy, look at her move. Grace, huh? A real thoroughbred. Some guys have all the luck. They never sit down next to me.
This is what I mean. Away from home, away from the ordinary. Is it beyond the realm of possibility that somehow we might strike up a conversation? Perhaps a few drinks, then dinner?
Would you have a light, please?
I beg your pardon?
A light.
Oh, yes, of course.
Thank you.
Come on, let's go eat.
All right.
Something funny?
Oh, this book. Have you read it?
La Chartreuse de Parme. No,
It's so absurd, I should think the movies would love it.
because it's absurd?
Well, the people are all so immoral in such an elegant way. But then their morals were only manners. I suppose that's all they are in any event.
Depending on the individual.
Why, that's almost an epigram. The shallowness of morals determined by the depth of passion. I bet you live on the West Coast. I like to try to identify people. I'd almost guess you do something in Hollywood.
No, I just got on the train at Albuquerque.
Oh, then that's it. Why, you do look like a scientist from Los Alamos.
No, I'm afraid I'm just a businessman.
Well, you certainly aren't typical.
Typical?
Oh, you know, businessman, successful, taking trips, heavy jowls, roly-poly punch. You look trim and eager.
Harold, be careful. Oh, I'm so sorry. How can a man disappear on a train?
I want to eat.
Oh, Harold, come back here.
Would you care to have dinner with me?
Why, I'd love to.
Shall we have a drink first?
Wonderful.
Gibson?
Mm-hmm.
2 giblets. Gibsons. I'm afraid I don't know your name.
Kathy Cardigan.
I'm Andy Bush.
Andy. It fits you. It reminds me of a brushed and scrubbed small boy.
Small boy? I'm old enough to be your father.
Oh, pooh.
No, really. I mean, how old do you think I am?
Well, you can't be much over 30. Oh, do you have a compartment?
Yes.
Fine, then I can fix my lipstick before dinner. Bon voyage, Andy. My lips don't need fixing.
Oh, I could have told you that.
Then I passed inspection.
They're perfect. I mean, they pass with flying colors.
Why, thank you, Auntie. Why, what's this?
Oh, that's just a few old sandwiches. Talking about food, if we want some dinner before they close the diner, oughtn't we to take your book and...
Isn't it funny that a book written over 100 years ago should have brought us to begin to know each other?
Yes, Kathy.
The Charter House of Parma. The red and the black. Stendhal was 50 years ahead of his time, wasn't he?
Stendhal. Oh, Stendhal. Yes, oh, it's a good 50 years.
His heroes were always so wishy-washy. Man's true nature, I guess, that he vacillates, that he's prompted by so many cross currents and torn emotions.
That's true of the world.
Take us, Andy. I think we're 2 intelligent people. Nothing stuffy about us.
Oh, that's true.
I know if you wanted to do something, you wouldn't vacillate about it. You wouldn't be wishy-washy about it. Me too. I know the only way we can get what we want out of life is to take it when we have the chance.
Oh, look, Kathy, oughtn't we to...
Why don't you sit down, Andy?
Oh. Why not?
It's cute here. I'm very glad we met. Aren't you? We could be a million miles from the rest of the world here. Away from everybody and everything.
Talking about vacillating.
Vacillating?
Being wishy-washy.
Oh, yes, Andy.
Didn't we decide we were going to have some dinner?
Oh, I'm not very hungry now, are you?
Well, I could do with a little something.
My dad in here?
Oh, come in, son.
I'm not your son. You ain't my daddy.
Well, I think I can eat now.
Oh, good. But don't you want your things?
Oh, I'll pick them up later in the evening.
This means a $20,000 order to me. You understand? Just because the guy's wife doesn't like the way my hair is or something, Hey, this boy's really making time.
Good evening, sir.
Oh, good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Thank you.
Order for me, will you, Andy?
All right. Well, we'll start off with shrimp cocktail, then we'll have broiled chops and broccoli. Have you got any broccoli?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. And then a baked potato. And for dessert...
Apple pie and coffee.
Apple pie and coffee. There we are. It's always been amazing to me on these trains the way they can produce a full-scale meal with the thing speeding across the country.
That's not the only amazing thing that can happen on a train, Andy.
No?
Haven't you noticed how easy it is to talk to strangers?
Yes.
It's a wonderful place for confidences. You can talk your heart out to someone you've only just met.
Like me?
Andy, can you be two people at the same time? I mean, two different kinds of you.
Yes, I guess so.
You see, you're a successful, respectable businessman, probably on your way to New York to finish up some big deal.
No, as a matter of fact, I'm just starting a 3-week vacation.
Oh? Well, that makes it even better. You see what I mean? If you just happen to be spending one of those weeks in New York, well, that's where I'm going.
New York for a week?
We could be together almost every day. The theater, nightclubs. You're not married, are you?
I must say, it's the most attractive thought, but it's rather out of the ordinary.
In your mind, it would only be an interlude. A week stolen from the whole normal tenor of your existence. Another facet of your life. Another part of you would be enjoying the week.
Yes, that's right. Another part of me.
See what a train does? It's a little world all by itself. Nothing can intrude, and anything is possible. Don't you feel that way about a train?
It certainly does alter one's perspective.
Would it shock you, Andy, to know that I deliberately sat next to you in the lounge because I wanted to talk to you?
I didn't know it was deliberate, but I'm awfully glad you did.
Would it frighten you to know that I thought you looked like someone who would help me? Oh, I don't mean money, Andy. Goodness, you looked absolutely stricken.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean...
9 times out of 10, I guess that would be the case.
Do you need some money?
No, not money, Andy. May I tell you a story about a friend of mine?
About a friend of yours?
Yes, a girl I know.
What's her name?
Her name? Alice.
Okay, tell me about Alice.
Well, she's a nice girl, but she hasn't been happy lately.
Oh, I am sorry. That's too bad.
She stole $2,000. She's running away.
Finished already, sir?
Yes, thank you.
Better?
Yes.
You're joking.
No.
$2,000?
Oh, it all sounds so criminal, doesn't it?
If it's true.
It's the only thing she could do. She had to steal.
But I mean, stealing is criminal. There are laws about that sort of thing.
When Alice fell in love and got married, it was all very romantic. A glorious haze. The future very bright. The boy came from a very wealthy family. He was dashing and impulsive, and he swept her off her feet.
But if it was that impulsive, I mean, marriage has to be carefully worked out. It's partners for life.
For life. Life was 3 weeks, Andy. Alice and Jack.
Jack?
They had only 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
He was killed in an auto accident.
Pretty cozy, those two. Sure didn't take him long to get that deal underway.
I don't know. I had the impression she had more to do with it than he did.
Technique, that's all it is. You gotta be a smooth operator. Boy, I'd sure like to be in his shoes now.
Excuse me a minute. I'll be right back.
But why did Alice steal?
I told you. Alice has been staying with Jack's parents. They're very wealthy, and she has nothing. She had to get away from that house. Its memories. And Jack's parents, who, for some reason, blame her for his death.
Well, that's ridiculous, surely.
Alice knew how Jack would want to be remembered. Happily. But that's not the kind of remembrance that Jack's parents wanted. They wanted sorrow. Only sorrow.
Because it's very difficult losing a son.
But suddenly the future became very important. Alice found out something, and she had to get away from the oppressiveness, from the unwholesomeness.
I don't understand. Why right now? What was so pressing?
I found out I'm going to have a baby.
Is there anything wrong, sir?
No, everything's fine.
Those chops aren't...
I'm just not very hungry. Are you? Perhaps we could have our coffee in the lounge car.
Why, of course, sir.
Enjoy your dinner, sir?
Yes, it's fine. Kathy, you know, you really have made an awful mistake.
Mistake? To leave that horrible house? To want a clean and bright future?
No, I meant the money you stole. Well, how did you get it?
I forged my father-in-law's name to a check.
Well, surely he'll understand if you explain.
Oh, no. He wants me back. Oh, don't you see, Andy? He wants the baby.
Well, this is a serious thing. You've got to think this out very straight.
I have, Andy. I only made one mistake. I was stupid enough to telephone my father-in-law before I caught the train. And he swore he'd have me arrested and brought back. We're stopping.
Probably some small town.
Now, I have to ask you, Andy. If he tries to stop me, a detective, if my father-in-law wired ahead, they'll try to identify me. They'll only have a description of me. They can't know it's me for sure. You can help me, Andy.
Help you how?
By telling them I'm your wife. Oh, I can't go back. I'll die if I have to go back.
But, I mean, to pose as your husband, this is a serious business, and any number of things can...
Andy, that week in New York, I can be an entirely different woman. I can laugh, Andy, and... Oh, I can't go back. Don't you see, I've got to make a new life for myself and my baby.
Shh.
Please, Andy, please.
I believe you're the young lady in room D, car 29?
What is it?
This man...
Yes, miss. Are you Kathy Cardigan?
I'm afraid I'm not.
Well, I'll have to see some identification.
Identification? That's ridiculous. Is there some trouble about our tickets?
You're not traveling alone?
Why, yes, we're traveling alone. Aren't we, dear? This is my husband.
Oh, is this your wife?
No. No, my wife's... I only met this young lady half an hour ago. I met her right here in this lounge, in that chair.
I don't believe I've picked your ticket up here yet. Oh, hello. That young woman, what'd she tell you?
Oh, it seems she's having some trouble with her in-laws.
Uh-huh. Running away, is that it?
Yeah, I guess so.
What won't we think of next?
What do you mean?
Her and that fella in the gray hat.
The gray hat? Oh, you mean the detective?
Oh, heck no. He was what you call her accomplice. It was all a con game. She and that fella in the gray hat put up job. And if you'd have said she was your wife, they'd have had you.
Had me?
Sure, blackmail. Didn't she leave nothing in here to show she'd been in here?
What about the other man, the one who was on the train all the time? The one who ran out after them?
He's the one who told me about him. Remember you saw us in the dining car? Detective Hartman. Real detective. He was waiting for a chance to nab him in the act.
Did he catch them?
Last I saw, a train was pulling out and he was chasing them down the platform. You saw him.
Yes.
Anyway, you outsmarted him. Good for you.
You outsmarted him. It was a con game all the time. The whole thing, the whole story, just fiction. You can really feel proud of yourself now, can't you? Or can you? Can you, Andy Bush?